Welcome to Stories of Iceland, a podcast about Iceland. If you're watching this, you might think to yourself that this is not really a podcast, but rather a video or even a vlog. But Stories of Iceland is mostly a podcast. But here we have a visual element as well, though it's mostly just me opening and closing my mouth. This is a new segment called Riddles of the Blind Guest. Here I will try to answer a question posed by my generous Patreon supporters. So you can see here, scrolling down, patreon.com, Stories of Iceland. So, let's just get into the first question. And that is Austin Yule, who asks, but my actual question is, how do the Icelanders view Lucky Leifur and his original discovery of the Americas? Do you feel overlooked or quietly smug about it? Keep up the work, Austin. So, if you don't know, Leifur Eiríksson found America in about the year 1000, before Columbus sailed to America, long before, half a millennia before Columbus discovered America. And then there were a few trips over to America from Greenland, and then they just stopped going for some reason. The background is that Leifur's father, Eiríkur, lived in Iceland, and Leifur was born in Iceland, and then Eiríkur got into feuds and started killing people, and then he went and sailed west and found Greenland and gave it its name and got other Icelanders go there and settle. And after there, people from Greenland went further west to America and found the continent. And this is a part, the stories of the Greenlanders there is a saga of the Greenlanders, and there is also the saga of Eiríkur Rauði, Eirik the Red. Those are actually quite short sagas, so it's easy to read them if you're so inclined. They named the land in the west of Greenland, they named it Vinland, because it was such a really, really great land. Icelanders just took this for granted for hundreds of years, that yes, there had been a settlement of Icelanders in Greenland, and yes, they had also traveled to a new land even further west, but most of the world didn't care or didn't listen, just didn't know. But then mostly in the 20th century, archaeological digs in Newfoundland, I think it's called Landsau Meadows, has confirmed that there were Nordic settlements there, or at least a camp. But yeah, confirmed that Icelanders, Norwegians would say there were still Norwegians at the time, and we could also just call them Greenlanders. But because we don't want to give anything to the Norwegians, we just call them Icelanders. So we'll just state that Icelanders found Greenland and found America. And then there were a few voyages to the Americas. There was Leifur and there was Thorfinn Karlsefni, and this is a subject for a whole episode of my podcast. Later I am working on it, but it takes a while to get it done. And to answer the question if we feel overlooked or quietly smug, well, I would say that Icelanders often feel a little overlooked, and if I could say how, and yeah, if you didn't know it, I just wanted to show you that here. That's Leifur. Cute fellow, isn't he, with his axe and all. You can see this statue in Reykjavik if you visit. It's right in front of Hallgrímskirkja, the big church downtown. Well, not actually downtown, it's on the hilltop where you have to go downtown. Well, you can miss it. Not because it's so big, but rather because of the buildings all around are rather small. So, and do we feel overlooked or quietly smug about it? Well, we feel overlooked, and we feel, and Icelanders are usually smug about it. Just to explain this a bit, how we view it is, this is Oscar Wilde, if you didn't know. He, from an early age, I've heard his quote about Icelanders' discovery of the Americas. It goes something like this. It's Icelanders are the smartest people in the world because they discovered America and then didn't tell anyone about it. And this is both something to bolster the national pride of we're the smartest, the best, the greatest country in the world. And also it's kind of a dig at Americans, because it implies that Oscar Wilde felt that America could have just gone undiscovered and that would have been okay. But the thing about this is that I have tried a couple of times to find this quote where we can verify its source, if Oscar Wilde actually said it. And the thing is, I have never found a real source for the quote, and I don't think I think a lot of people have tried to find it and they never had. So I don't know who said this to begin with, or if it was just made up as something Oscar Wilde said just for it was straight away attributed to him. As he's one of the great, quotes. If you have a quote that sounds clever and smart or witty, you attribute it to Oscar Wilde or Winston Churchill. If it's wise, you attribute it to Albert Einstein. So, no, he probably never said that Icelanders were the smartest people in the world, though a lot of Icelanders would like to believe that. usually I would say that Icelanders are quite vocally smug about having found America. If you're an American and you've known some Icelanders, you probably heard the story of how Icelanders were the first to discover the continent. Apart from all the people who were already there, So yeah, yes, Icelanders feel overlooked and are also smug. This is it for today. I'd like to thank Austin for his question. If you'd like to ask a question yourself, you can go here to patreon.com, Stories of Iceland. You can also visit storiesoficeland.com, and you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. And if you want your name to scroll here, like all these wonderful people here, then go to Patreon, sign up, become a supporter. Thanks for listening. I'm Óli Gneisti, and this has been Stories of Iceland, Riddles of the Blind Guest.